Welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my Central Texas Zone 8B9A garden. It is November, so it's time to start harvesting those seeds to grow again in the spring. All of those things that you find the most beautiful, that you love the most, and you want to carry through to the next year. Okay, let's go. If you've watched any of my recent videos over the last few months, you would know I'm obsessed with these bicolor cherry profusion zinnias and these white zinnias. And I love them so much, I almost want to do borders. I've got so many places around the arch, in the back. So I want a lot of these. Now what I did was I'm collecting them in paper bags. You do not want to collect anything that you harvest in plastic. It will mold, and that is definitely not going to be beneficial for you. Let me bring you in closer. In deciding which of the flowers that you want to use to collect your seeds, this is the progression. It starts as a bud. You see right there. Then it starts to open. Then it flowers. Let me see if I can find one that has, no, I don't see any recently flowered, but once it flowers, it starts growing this pollen on the top. And then once that's gone, it looks like this. And it's dark, and the seeds are in here. So these are the ones you want to cut. So I'm going to cut several of the bicolor cherry profusion zinnias, and I'm going to cut several of the white ones. So I think that's enough of the bicolor cherry. I'm going to go ahead and start collecting some of the white. And over here, I have my Gomphrena, and I'm going to show you what I'm looking at for this. Now, some of it I waited too long, so I'm not sure what the colors are. So I have my bags labeled purple Gomphrena, which I can still obviously tell, pink Gomphrena, which is pretty easy to tell, and then I'll harvest some of the question marks and plant them out. They're all gorgeous, so I am thrilled with whatever I get, but let's get going. So for the Gomphrena, they just bloom these gorgeous blooms, and then the blooms grow longer and longer and longer, and the seeds are all down in here. So these are obviously the purple ones, so that's easy to identify. So I'm just going to cut several of these here, and these will all be in the purple. This next one I think is the pink, so let's move over here. Okay, so over here you can see on many of them that there's pink. This is obviously pink. So we'll just cut several of these. And I've got some more purple on our left, so I'll get more of that as well. And then we'll get to the question marks. I think that is more than enough pink Gomphrena seeds. Over here are obviously more of the purple seeds. Love these. And this is actually, I think, a lighter purple. So I may do a different collection bag for these. I know there were several colors. I'm going to have to look up my old videos to see what colors I had. But they were beautiful, and I want more next year. Okay. And here is the purple Gomphrena. But then there's a whole different plant over here, and all of the color is gone. So these will be my question mark Gomphrena seeds. Now my understanding is they will reseed here where I had them growing all summer, but I do want them in other places around my yard, and I'd like to grow some for my sister. Okay, I think that's enough question mark seeds. Welcome to my garage slash office slash grow space slash pretty much everything. It does get very warm. Remember, it is Central Texas in here, but I got one of these portable AC units, and it keeps me more than cool enough to plan things out or work with seeds. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with the zinnias, and then we'll go to the Gomphrena. I ended up also taking out another color of zinnia, and I'll put a picture when I get to doing those seeds. And I also went and deadheaded some of the marigolds, the shorter marigolds. So I have lots of seeds that I need to recover here. All right, let's take a few out at a time. Actually, I'm going to deal with one at a time. How's that? Okay, so in here, if you pull the petals out, you'll see there are seeds on each of these. And I'll do a close-up of this. So that right there is a seed. Let's take it right off the petal. There we go. Some more. And some more. There we go. Now, not all of the zinnia seeds will be viable. You actually feel them. And if it feels firm and it's not bending, then it's a good seed. If it is flexible and basically an empty shell, then it is not a viable seed. So these all feel good to me. Yeah, they're all good. All right. So I'm going to put this on fast forward for the rest of the zinnias. One of the easier ways to separate a lot of this dried shape from the actual seeds is just blow lightly on the paper. The good seeds, the viable seeds, will be a little bit heavier. So I'm not saying blow hard, just blow very softly. Oh, well, that was a little bit too hard, but that's okay. And that just helps thin it out a little bit more. And like this is a seed that's completely flat, so that one's no good. This one is good. And there are several good in here, and you don't have to clean it out completely, but it's, you know, just for storage reasons, it's good to thin it out. So So I think I have more than enough of the bicolor cherry profusion zinnia. I get these little seed packets, but I have also successfully used just those little coin envelopes, just something porous paper so the seeds can stay dry until you're ready to plant it. Now for zinnias, for these profusion zinnias, and I'm going to do the white ones next. I'm going to start these inside in my 12 cell containers at the end of December. It takes 60 days from seed to flower, so that should just time me perfectly for getting these out into the garden in this spring, at least here in Central Texas. Now it's time for the white profusion zinnias. The bicolor cherry had the petals were drier and the seeds that were on the inside here were viable. Many of them were. These white ones, however, if you look inside, you can see that the seeds are still green. So for the most part, there's a few dark ones in there, but if you feel them, they're completely flat. So for some reason, that's an interesting thing for me to learn. The cherry bicolor profusion zinnias, the seeds are viable faster than the white ones. So that's a note to make going forward. Again, I put an envelope here. White profusion zinnias collected November 2025. And I'm going to start it in late December. There we go. That's it. There's another one ready to go. These are very interesting seeds to harvest. The zinnias, as you saw, they're pretty obvious. You take them off if you feel them. They're firm seeds. If they're not viable, they'll be very flat and flexible. They're very easy to visually see and harvest. Gomphrena is a little different. This is the pink Gomphrena. You can see there's still a teeny bit of pink color there in the top. You literally just pull off the petals. Now this one you cannot, like the way I did with the zinnias where I blew lightly to get the seeds separated from all of the dry materials, dry chaff. These are different. You don't want to blow them because they will blow away. Now, for each one of these, and not all of them are viable, but here's one that is, and that's separated from the petal. You can see it right there. You can feel which ones are hard and ready to go. Now, you do not have to, most of these seeds, like for instance, here's one of the little petals, it's dried. I can feel that there's a seed in there, and if you wanted to go through the trouble of digging it out, you can, but you don't have to. So for the most part, As long as it feels firm underneath, you've got good seeds. If it's flat, then those are not viable. And the ones that are farther down on the Gomphrena are more likely to have more viable seeds than the ones that are growing out of the top. But for this one, goodness, it's almost all of them are good. And, there really is no sense trying to dig it out. You can, as I said, if you wanted to, but it's not going to hurt the seed storage. So, do whatever it is you want. But you can see just from one flower how many seeds, Gomphrena seeds, I now have. So I don't know. I will pass these seeds on to my sister or maybe the neighborhood. But these take a teeny bit longer than the zinnias to go from seed to flower. But again, I will be starting these inside. Yeah, and these up here, I can already feel there's no seeds in this one at the top. At the bottom, these are really feel good. I don't think I'm going to use all of the Gomphrena that I cut. Nope. Looks good. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to do one more, maybe two, and that'll be it. Now I'm going to start the purple Gomphrena, and the rest of this is all going to be on fast forward. And these are the short marigolds. They were so pretty that I planted in front of, my attempt at a food garden. They're supposed to help keep the critters away and the bugs, and they seem to do a very good job this year. So, and as I said, they were so pretty. So I'm definitely going to go with that again. And these, you simply open up, and all of the seeds are down here. How simple is that? And I'm not even going to bother separating it from, well, maybe a little bit, but I'm not going to fuss about any of the petals on the top as much. And this is going to give me a huge number of marigolds for next year. Now, I did have giant marigolds along the back fence, and I'd sort of like those again, but they did not come back this year. So when I go to Houston to see my sister next time, I'll get some seed heads from her giant marigolds so I can have them again next year, excuse me. Super simple. Look at all those beautiful seeds from just a few flowers. More marigolds than I'll ever be able to use. But I've been going on my Facebook neighborhood page, and anything that I have a surplus of, I've been offering to my neighbors. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with having too many rather than not enough. And folks, this is just the most simple and easiest way to save money to get exactly what you were so happy with this year for next year. There's so many benefits to this, and frankly, this is kind of relaxing. Just taking these seeds apart. And the rest I will put on fast forward. And I almost forgot about my bicolor profusion zinnias, and I'll put a picture here. It goes from yellow to dark pink. It's actually quite striking and quite beautiful, and I'm glad I was able to get some of these before those plants completely died. These were gorgeous. Almost the entire summer, they were absolutely gorgeous. Definitely worth it. And honestly, I'm thinking about putting in a mix of the bicolor cherry and this bicolor. I want to say the name of it was something like lemonade. Lemonade was in the name. But again, I'll show you the picture. It's absolutely gorgeous. Definitely worth it. I had it in my part shade, part sun garden in the back corner. The one that my sister and I created last fall. And I would love to put several of them back there next year. And they were just two that I think I picked up from Home Depot. And they were pretty. By the way, I checked videos from my garden tours, and the question mark Gomphrena is actually white Gomphrena. And I am out of my seed envelopes, but standard paper envelope will do just as well. And since there are so many seeds, that actually works well. Okay. Well, that's it for the seed harvesting for the moment. The next fall job that I have to get to is propagating all of those beautiful verbenas that I have around the yard, and a few other plants too. Some of the lantanas that don't seem to grow back on their own, I'll take cuttings of those and bring them in the house until the spring. So I have plenty to plant out. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed my video, please hit subscribe, like, and share. It really helps me to grow my channel. Have a wonderful day.